relatives. My name is Nadya Bratt, and just to give you a little bit of context, my father's Peter Bratt, and my ancestry there is German, English, Czechoslovakian. My mother, Eldy Bratt, many people don't know, basically came here as a teenager, and her and my great-grandmother, Petra, were to be servants. Because down south, a lot of similar things happened to Native people. And they were separated upon coming here. My mom and great-grandmother did not know that. And my mom was sent to a private boarding school here in San Francisco. And she did go to class. She had never been to school, even though she was a teenager. And she was a servant, so she was also being raised to be a servant. What happened was, my mother, LD, she had 5 children. Peter, Benjamin, Georgia. Barushka was just 6 months old when the occupation began. And my mom, by that time, was in her 30s. And we had gone to Thanksgiving celebration with my father. And my mom was alone with my big sister. And she turned on the television to the only station that we got, and that was KQED. And she saw this man, Richard Oakes. So, Fawn, I want to say thank you for giving me an opportunity to say thank you to you and your family and all the indigenous relatives up here in the north and the Cots. Because why? I cannot think of that name, Richard Oakes, without thinking about fire and passion. And I'm going to say, my mom, I went to see her today to get her blessing, because I told her I was going to be sharing a few words. And she said that it was that passion and his charisma that made her feel so impelled and moved. And he said, Indians of all tribes, north and south, we must unite. My mother raised us as indigenous. Before it was in vogue or popular. So when she heard this man and saw him on television, she felt this calling. The next thing was, she found herself down at the wharf. And when she was getting onto the boat, and she had this little baby that was only months old, she was just barely making it to the boat, and she was trying to figure out how to get on. All these brown hands, she says, reached out to her. And from that moment on, something just split her heart open. And she felt, for the first time, after decades being here, that she was finally at home with family, with relatives. Because Native relatives up here do the same, just like down south. The children are everybody's children. The children are everybody's responsibility. So it's the whole thing of Richard Oakes, this sisterhood, that boat. And then also, she made friends and found a special sister in Fawn's mom, Anne. Anne and my mom had a really tight relationship. After years later, I never forgot that, always was looking for them, and it wasn't until I moved back north when I was at a raffle at the Native American Health Center, and I heard one of the raffle winners was little Richard Oakes, and I was like, what? And that's where we got reconnected. But Ann Oakes and my mom's friendship, that was another reason why my mom had great respect for Richard Oakes. Because it wasn't just that he was charismatic, and that he was bright, and that he was young, but he was a family man. And my mom had great respect for him, because not only was he a family man and he put his wife first, but he fell in love with a woman who had already 6 children, and he treated every single one of them as if they were his own. I could tell you more, but I know we're cut for time, so I just want to say one of the biggest impacts is, as my mom says, she doesn't know why. She had to be cut away from her family and come here, except that she came here to plant 5 seeds, her children. And I'm here to tell you, the whole thing of Alcatraz is like a little spark, that fire Richard Oakes had in everybody.
it ignited something in my mother. That flame has been passed on to each and every one of us. And it even ripples into the third generation as our children, my mom's grandchildren, continue to work and strive about a way of life. Because it's not about surviving, it's about thriving. It's about waking up the other relatives, the human beings on this planet, our Mother Earth. It's about connection to life. These are the values that no matter where you are, if you're an indigenous person on Mother Earth, it speaks to you. And many of us have been cut off from our tribal ways, our traditions, and our families. So besides being Quechua Aymara from my mother's side of the family, my family's been adopted, Lakota, Diné, Tlingit. The truth is that when you remember that you're part of the circle of life, just like the trees, the bees, and the water, and all that is sacred, and you respect that, and you love it, and you care for it, that's what it is. And that's what's at danger and at risk in these times, in these ways. Richard Oakes was an incredible leader. His spirit lives on. He was an ordinary man doing extraordinary things. I don't think that he would like to hold himself up on a pedestal. On the contrary, the closer to the mother, the better, because we all know that's our foundation. What we're all made of, all those sacred elements. And so it's about doing what we can. It's not necessarily being in the limelight. It's whatever you are. If you're a baker, if you're a teacher, if you're a homemaker, if you're a politician, if you're a nurse, if you're a gardener, a janitor, it's about doing the best you can. And being a leader and carrying these values and traditions around is not something you just put on temporarily. It's a way of life. It's how you show up and build connection. So I just want to say thank you. Long live the spirit of Richard Oakes. And thank you for this opportunity. God bless you all.